Aloha mai kākou. I am Maui, Akua Hawaii, Hawaiian. Kilohoku, renowned navigator, expert in star lore. I am a wayfinder. I seek, I wander, I explore. Hailing from Kahiki, my island home of water, far beyond this galaxy, I will embark on a spectacular journey, a huaka'i nui. To begin my journey, I needed a new va'a. Eliapai'o, the most celebrated bird in Kahiki, guided me to the sacred koa tree I'd use to build my canoe. An incarnation of the patron goddess Lea, Eliapai'o followed me through the forest, watching me as I searched for the elusive tree. Stopping to peck, she signaled that the trees were riddled with insects not suitable for my va'a nui. Then suddenly she landed. Standing on the deepest tree in the forest, she showed no interest. Eliapai'o had given me the sign. I used this mighty koa for my legendary canoe. Along my journey from Kahiki with my great fishhook Manaya Kalani at my side, I, with my brothers, were in constant search of the magical fish pimoi. Baited with the wing of my mother Hina's bird, the alai, I tracked and finally caught pimoi, telling my brothers to pull as hard as they could. They paddled with all the strength they could muster, and was so intent with their effort, did not notice that pimoi had transferred into the islands as he surfaced. Hawaii was born. Settling in Hilo, I was asked by my mother Hina to slow the path of the sun, complaining the days were too short to dry her kapa. Intent on pleasing my mother, I wove an amazing lasso made from my sister's long ehu hair, strong enough and favored by the gods not to be harmed by the sun's heat. Climbing to the top of Haleakala, the house of the sun, I whipped my lasso with my fishhook Manai Kalani attached and grabbed hold of the sun. I demanded that he remain in the sky. The sun agreed, making the days longer and more productive. Firefinder, wind capturer, sky raiser, tales of my exploits along my journey are many and extraordinary. In my time, I have also seen the beginnings of our Hawaiian people. I witnessed the birth of Haloa Naka and Haloa, the first Haloa born still and planted to become Kalo, one with the Aina, and the second Haloa, his brother, becoming the first man, Kanaka. I have seen these brothers learn to live in balance, man sustaining land and land sustaining man, Pono. At the helm of my va'a, I continue on my huaka'i, my course laid by the stars in our heavens, longing for my home, this island of water, Kahiki. I am comforted by the fact that our people have been given the ike to understand their kuleana, and that our aina is amazingly rich and bountiful. Guided by the knowledge and gifted with the resources, I cannot help but wonder, will our Kanaka continue as good stewards of our aina and its precious resources? And in turn, will our aina continue to sustain? I wonder what will become of our people in generations to come. Will they become wayfinders? Will they continue to seek, to wander, to explore? Aloha mai kākou. I am Maka o Maui, Akua Hawaii, Hawaiian. My genealogy, 7th-generation descendant of legendary kupuna Akua Hawaii, Maui. I bear his name, I channel his vision, I carry his kuleana. Kilohoku, renowned navigators, expert in star lore, like my ancestors, I am a wayfinder. I seek, I wander, I explore. For Maui, my forebearer, so too Hawaii loa and Makali'i, Nainoa and Kalepa, my calling to honor the spirit, wisdom, and traditions of these masters. Hailing from the ancient and distant home of our people, my ancestors have embarked and have maintained course on a spectacular journey spanning many generations, a huaka'i nui, one that began far beyond this galaxy near the outer edges of the supercluster Laniakea. There, it is said, lies an island of water known to me only through the mo'olelo of yesterday. Guided and inspired by the past, I humbly yet boldly face the future. From the summit of Mauna Awakea, gazing towards the heavens, I can see our island home. I see Kahiki. This voyage began by my kupuna Maui many generations ago, one that fished out the islands and captured the sun, one that spawned the Renaissance and educated this world to Malama Honua, will set sail once again. I accept my responsibility. I embrace this opportunity. My kupuna will direct me as I navigate this next leg of our huaka'i nui, our return journey home. To prepare for this leg, our most ambitious, we will need to design and build a new va'a, one as strong and dynamic as Maui had fashioned to begin this journey 7 generations ago. Like Maui, we will summon Akualea and offer her ho'okupu of red fish and fine kapa. In return, we will look for her to guide and assist sourcing the creation of our new vessel. This va'a will be like those of the past, protecting and providing during our journey. It will also have to be like none other before, sustaining our entire civilization as its inhabitants. When complete, in honor of the legendary Va'a Kolua, sparking the voyaging renaissance of AD 1975, this va'a will be known as Hokulea, Star of Gladness. Hokulea will need to sustain our people throughout the leg of this journey, like our island homes, Kahiki and Hawaii, have provided for us for many generations. Inspired by the mo'olelo of Maui fishing out the islands from the middle of the sea, we will look to find and pull our resources from our great oceans. We will work together, hand in hand, caring for the land, which will in turn care for us. We will manage and live in balance with our resources, following and respecting the principles of our ancient ahupua'a, stretching from our mountains to our seas. Hokulea will need to harness the energy of the suns, the moons, and the stars. Inspired by the mo'olelo of Maui capturing the sun, we will look to power and propel our va'a through this indigenous use of our incredible resources. We will combine our sailing traditions with that of our indigenous knowledge and native intelligence about the strength and forces of nature and of our environment. At the helm of our va'a, Hokulea, I set course toward the outer edges of Laniakea, guided by the same stars as our Vahikupuna have for many generations past. I am eager to learn more about Kahiki, known to me only through the mo'olelo of yesterday, home of my ancestors, a place of health and prosperity, this island of water. Water in Olelo, Hawaii is vai. Fittingly so, wealth in Olelo, Hawaii is vai vai. It is said that those who have an abundance of water are truly wealthy. What other values of wealth will I discover on Kahiki? More importantly, with all of its riches, what will I have to offer and be able to contribute to its well-being? My genealogy, 7th generation descendant of Vahikupuna, legendary Maui. I bear his name, I channel his vision, I carry his kuleana. For our people, kuleana is viewed in cycles of generations, serendipitously 7. This perspective encourages benevolence over self-service and necessitates an understanding that all decisions and actions will affect many and far into the future. The last of this lineage cycle, now more than ever, I find myself striving to further define the necessary contributions of my generational responsibilities. My capacity will afford me opportunities to affect the welfare of our people more than most. This expectation is tempered with the weight of its responsibility. I look forward to exploring the possibilities and developing thought and strategies that will help to ensure the sustainability of indigenous people and environments for Laniakea and beyond. Contemporary strategies guided by the wisdom, practice, and values of our past to benefit all in the present and for the next 7 generations to come. Like my ancestors, I will continue to be a wayfinder. I will continue to seek, to wonder, and to explore. I am Maka'o Maui, Akua Hawaii, Hawaiian. Aloha mai kākou. Although I think it'd be super cool, I'm not Maka'o Maui, nor am I Maui. I'm Rob Iopa, architect and occasional storyteller. The legends told of Maui are well known and many. Today, I've dramatically presented my interpretations of several of his exploits as a means of describing the mythological creation of Hawaii and its people, and the symbiotic relationship between man and land in the Hawaiian existence. Ihope, the past. The story of Maka'o Maui, on the other hand, this supernatural descendant of Maui from 7 generations in the future, is a story that we developed, written and illustrated by me and my amazingly creative partners and associates at WCIT Architecture. Maka'o Maui was born both out of the incredible opportunities and seamlessly endless possibilities of our times, coupled with the fear of losing much of what we have, need, and hold dear to threats created by our own doing. Spurred first by the news of the discovery of interstellar asteroid Oumuamua and all the science fiction theories of interstellar travel, in our minds, what must be Hawaiian interstellar travel, that followed. Also inspired by the renewed interest and push for space travel from groups like SpaceX and Virgin Galactic, we began to imagine and paint this fanciful journey. We began to see how our indigenous ingenuity of our past, memorialized and perpetuated through our stories, could foretell a possible approach and strategies for the generations to come. Imua, the future. Through the two mo'olelo shared today, you have been introduced to the olelo no e ao, Nānā imua, Nānā ihope, looking forward, looking back. While this ancient proverb is uniquely Hawaiian, its fundamental premise, learning from the past to inform the future, is universal and can be found in some semblance in many cultures throughout the world. Viewed through our lens, as architects and as planners for our island communities, we've used this olelo no e ao to frame a methodology we call tomorrow's ahupua'a. Based on the native Hawaiian land division that stretched from the mountains to the sea, known to have provided all necessary resources to sustain, tomorrow's ahupua'a is an approach that looks to honor the past, the traditions, values, practices, and aspirations of our kupuna, so we might develop culturally based, forward-thinking approaches to sustainability, celebrating proper balance of our environmental, social, political, and economic resources for today and into the future. As was in the mo'olelo, at the helm of my own va'a, I too set a course for the future, guided by the principles that our kupuna have lived for many generations past. Like Maka'o Maui, eagerly look to learn more about kahiki, I continue on my own quest to learn the lessons of the Hawaii of old, known only to me through the stories of yesterday. Home of my ancestors, a place of health and prosperity, these islands at the center of the Pacific, the most isolated and yet the most sustainable. In the traditions of our people, I carry generational kuleana, responsibilities that encourage benevolence over self-service and necessitate an understanding that all my actions and decisions will affect many and far into the future. With growing challenges facing our aina and our kanaka, dramatic effects of climate change, diminishing natural resources, continued political unrest, global pandemics, now more than ever, I find myself striving to further define my necessary contributions to fulfill both my professional and personal responsibilities. My expertise, my experience, my reach affords me the opportunities to affect the welfare of our people through our planned and built environments in more ways than many. This great potential of amazing possibilities is tempered with the weight of its enormous responsibility. I look forward to the continual exploration and collaboration necessary to find the solutions to our environmental challenges, working not only with our indigenous thinking and inspired scientists and engineers, but also geologists and oceanographers, our attorneys and policymakers, and to our fishermen and farmers, each bringing their own lens of expertise, ideally blended with a deep understanding and appreciation for the historical and cultural ingenuity of our past. Together, we can develop thought and strategies that will help ensure the sustainability not only of our island home, but also in ways that can inform the sustainability of all island environments, for Polynesia, for Oceania, and beyond. Contemporary strategies guided by the wisdom, practice, and values of our past. Nānā ihope, to benefit all in the present and for the next 7 generations to come. Nānā i mua. Like my kupuna, I will strive to be a wayfinder with a tempered blend of care and humility and persistence and passion. I will continue to seek, to wonder, to explore. I am Robbie Iopa, architect, occasional TEDx storyteller, Kanaka Maole, Hawaiian.